Hello, Mom and Dad. Thank you for coming back to these parent videos. They're going to be very, very short, but what I'd like to do for them is just share with you things I've learned in my years of teaching pre K. I'm entering my 37th year of teaching pre K. I've taught in public schools, I've taught in a private school, and I even taught on a military base way back in the 90s. I've seen all sorts of school environments. I've seen different school systems, different curriculums. And I just would like to share with you, both as a teacher and as a parent, things I think that you can do with your little one this summer to help them get ready for their first day of pre K. Now, if your child's never been in daycare or any type of group care situation, these are things that you can do that will help them and you on that first day of big school. Okay? They're just my opinions. I'm not a child care expert. I'm just an experienced pre K teacher, and I'd like to share with you things I've learned. Okay? The first thing you can do, Mom and Dad, to help your child in school is to practice working a backpack. Practice carrying a backpack on the shoulders. Practice opening it up, unzipping it, putting things inside, and then closing it. Those skills are really, really important. Some pre K teachers check each child's backpack themselves, but most that I've seen don't. It's a self help skill that your child is expected to know how to do, often on that very first day. They're going to be nervous. Everything's going to be a little harder physically and fine motor wise. So if you get a backpack right now and practice with your child, take it with you when you go on your summer field trips, when you go to the museum or the zoo or the park. Have them practice putting it on, taking it off, and have them practice putting in papers or folders. Papers are important. Some teachers have folders that papers go home in, and some just have students open the backpack and put that paper inside. It will help to practice doing that without squishing it. That takes a lot of fine motor skill, Mom and Dad. Fine motor skills mean the muscles in your hand, getting those hands stronger, using a pincer grasp like this. That takes time. So get a backpack now and have your child practice opening and closing it. It's going to make a world of difference, both in their beginning of the day and at the end of their school day. The second thing you can do to help your child, Mom and Dad, is they need to be able to essentially dress themselves, meaning they need to be able to pull up their own pants, pull up their own undies when they go potty. Now, they may have trouble with zipping and snapping, but you can teach them that now. At least help them. Help them with the process. It's important, Mom and Dad. Some teachers go in the restroom and help pre K students during potty time. Some don't, and some can't. They're not allowed to. They'll stand at the door like we do, and we help the children, we monitor the children. But when they're in the stall itself, they have to pull those pants up the best they can. That takes a lot of practice. If it's really, really hard for your child and they've tried all summer long to learn how to zip their pants or snap it, well, Mom and Dad, don't send them to school then with zippers and snaps. Send them with stretchy pants, with elastic bands. Make it easy for them. But if I was you, I would start practicing pant skills right now. Okay? It's going to help them. While we're talking about being in the potty, your child needs to be able to wipe themselves, Mom or Dad. They need to be able to clean themselves when they go number two. Every year, I hear a student say, Teacher, can you come wipe my butt? I hear it all the time. We have to practice how to reach behind, start down low, and then swipe up. They need to be able to do that, mom and dad. Your child's not going to have wipies at school. They need to be able to learn how to wipe themselves several times until they feel clean. Practice now so they'll have less embarrassing or sometimes just down sad moments in the potty. Okay? Got to wipe our own hiney, mom and dad. Another fine motor and gross motor skill is putting on coats and taking off coats. Even though it's summertime and it's hot right now, go get a jacket or a sweater or a coat, whatever you think your child will be wearing the most in the fall or winter, and help them learn how to put that jacket on themselves. They can practice zipping. Buttoning takes time, but they can practice right now, mom and dad. Because I guarantee you, every single year, I see students, particularly in kindergarten, walking outside at dismissal completely with their coats undone, and even in freezing weather. In pre K, we have teacher assistants, so we have another adult to help us snap up everybody's coat if they can't do it. Most kindergarten teachers don't, guys. They might have one aide for the whole grade level. Your child needs to be able to put their own coat on and take it off at least most of the steps before school starts. You can practice that right now. Oh, that's a biggie, mom and dad. That's a biggie. Another school skill that you can practice right now is pushing in your chair when you get up. Some kids have desks, some kids have little benches, but some kids have regular little chairs with four legs. Teach your child now that when they stand up, they should push their chair back in under the table. That's a really big skill in a classroom full of 25 little chairs. Okay? The next skill, mom and dad, that I would recommend you practice with your child now during the summer is being able to say their complete name, first and last name, being able to say your name, first and last name, and to be able to say their phone number and their address very quickly by memory. Why is this important? Besides the obvious reasons, if a child got lost, they'd be able to tell somebody who they are. But mom and dad, it's not just the big, scary Amber Alert moments that I'm talking about. I'm talking about little moments, like leaving the cafeteria and the class has gone to the room and little people wander. It happens. They might get into the wrong line in a crowded hallway. And if a teacher stops your child and goes, "What's your name, sweetie? Who's your teacher?" They need to be able to quickly recall their name, their teacher's name, if you can get it ahead of time, your name, their phone number, their address. All of these things are very, very important, mom and dad. So just practice it. Practice it in the car, throughout your day. The next self help skill, mom and dad, that I think you can help your child with now involves lunchtime. If your child's going to be eating in the cafeteria and getting a school tray, they need to practice carrying that tray without falling. It happens every year, particularly in August. And it's so scary and embarrassing and sad when a child sees their lunch thrown all over the floor because they tripped or they dropped it. Nowadays, I see styrofoam trays, which are even more wiggly and harder to carry. Go to Luby's, find a cafeteria somewhere in your area, and have your child practice carrying that tray. Yes, even the big giant plastic tray at Luby's. Just put a few things on it or silverware and let them practice balancing and setting that tray down. That's going to help them big time. Lunch kits. If your child will be bringing their own lunch kit, they need to practice right now, mom and dad, how to open it, how to open the baggies, or put their straw in their little drink. Yes, cafeterias have helpers, but mom and dad, sometimes it's just two or three people in a giant group of a school full of 800 little people. We teach our students to raise their hand if they need help opening, but when you've got a whole cafeteria full of hundreds of kids, sometimes your child's not seen, Mom and Dad. And then they get frustrated. And lunch is really quick now. It's not always 30 minutes anymore. Sometimes it's 20. Practice opening that back lunch kit, opening the Ziplocs, things like that, and closing it back up. That's going to help your pre-K child next year. Now let's talk about what to learn academic wise or physically before your child goes to pre-K. The number one thing you can do right now to help your child with their writing is Play Doh. Play Doh, Play Doh, Play Doh. The more your child uses Play Doh and uses those fingers and all the little muscles in their hands, the stronger their dexterity, the stronger their grip. They'll be able to color better, to write better, to unzip, to snap, to do all the things that a 4 or 5-year-old uses their fingers for. And Play Doh can help them do that. There's a lot of other fine motor skills you can practice, activities at home. We'll do that in a different video. But for right now, go get that 50-cent little jar of Play Doh at Walmart and encourage your child to use it, squeeze it, show them how to roll it or flatten it. All those things are going to help your child in pre-K. Colors and shapes. Your child's going to study those things in pre-K, but Mom and Dad, don't wait for that. Don't wait for the teacher in for elementary school. Teach them their colors and shapes now. That's going to be a really big helper in those first weeks when they're scared and they're nervous and they're listening to the teacher, but they're not hearing everything completely because they're not emotionally calm and relaxed yet. Cover those things now. Get toys for the bathtub. Talk about colors. There's so many things you can do to teach basic shapes and the colors now. That's going to give your child a little leg up when they start pre-K in the fall. The last thing I'd like to share with you that I think will help you and your child next year when you drop your baby off for that first day is practicing a goodbye routine right now. When you take your child to their Nana or Papa's house, Grandma or Grandpa's house, maybe go visit Uncle Mike, practice a routine, something you do and say the same way every time you say goodbye to your child. It could be a secret little handshake. It could be certain words. I love you. I'll see you later. It can be very simple, but do the same thing every time you say goodbye to your child so that your child can practice leaving you knowing they're going to see you again soon. And those words and routines will trigger safety and calmness in their mind. That's just a little overview, Mom and Dad, of things I think you can do now to help your child transition from you to that pre-K teacher next year. I hope you enjoyed this and thanks for listening. Bye bye, guys.